Hello everyone, welcome back again to this channel. So guys, thank you so much for stopping by, to watch what is really going on in Nigeria now. So let's really dive into what we have today. Today's topic is actually talking about what P2B said about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, P2B said that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's detention does not make sense and Nigeria needs dialogue, not revenge. That is what he said. So yesterday, during a live interview on Channels Television, former presidential candidate Mr. P2B made a bold and surprising statement, and this is what he said. I quote, "It does not make sense for Nnamdi Kanu to still be in detention." So let's break down what P2B said, why it matters, and why it means for Nigeria's fragile unity and justice system. For those who may not know Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he is the founder of IPOB. He's the founder of the Indigenous People of Biafra, a movement demanding a separate nation for the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria, a rebirth of the old Biafra. So in 2015, he was arrested by the Nigerian government for allegedly inciting violence, spreading hate, and operating a terrorist group. Though many argued these were political accusations to silence dissent. He was later granted bail but mysteriously disappeared after a military raid on his home. In 2007, he resurfaced abroad and was controversially rearrested in 2021 through a suspected international jurisdiction, a move that violated international law and has been condemned by human rights bodies globally. So since then, he has remained in the custody of the Department of State Service, despite several court rulings, both Nigerian and international, ordering his release. So this I gave you guys why I told you guys this in so that for some people who don't know who Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is and what is his mission, like what he is doing. So now let us talk about what P2B said. During Channel's TV interview, P2B did not mind what at all. He said it does not make sense to still keep Kanu in detention, especially when the main reason being cited is that Kanu used vulgar language or insulted people in power. So in Obi's word, he said, some people say Kanu insulted government officials. He called someone a thief. He called someone an idiot. That should not be enough to keep someone locked up. So guys, I want you guys to just watch this video so that we'll keep things running. I want you to watch what P2B said about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and I'll be right back. Just watch this, guys.
Government will change it.
Would this be canvassing for a political solution to the case of Nnamdi Kanu?
For every one of them. I mean, why is it being held? It doesn't make sense to me. Some people say because he used vulgar words and everything. Is there anything wrong? I've not seen it. People just say, oh, using vulgar words. You say, it doesn't bother me if I'm president, whether you call me thief, call me a less man, call me idiot, but you call me today. It doesn't bother me. My duty as a leader is to the common man to put food on their table.
Well, if you are talking about the situation in the South, is it the same way you handle the agitators and those who are killing in the Northeast and the Northwest?
Remember what I said. If there are people I can talk to, I will talk to them. But remember what I said. Once I exhaust reason, I'll deal with it. Let's say tomorrow we have a bandit by name so operating in the Northeast. I will look for him. Quote me anywhere. But, remember, that is just establish a link to say enough is enough.
Afterwards,
deal with it decisively.
So you guys heard it, right? This is what P2B was actually talking about. Now, P2B said that some people are saying that Kanu insulted government officials. He called someone a thief. He called someone an idiot. That should not be enough to keep someone locked up. That should not be enough. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should have been released for a very long time now. That is what P2B is saying. And then he said something very profoundly. He said, if I'm the president and someone calls me a thief or idiot, it won't bother me. So what Obi is saying here is simple. He's trying to tell us that being insulted is not the same as being attacked. Freedom of speech, even when it's uncomfortable, is a right and not a crime. Peter Obi isn't just defending Kanu, he's pointing to a deeper sickness in Nigerian democracy that Nigerian government have refused to understand. Peter Obi is not just defending Nnamdi Kanu, he's pointing at something, to a deeper sickness that is worrying the whole Nigerians. He's not just defending Mazi, he's saying the exact truth here. Even if he becomes the president tomorrow, he told us that if someone calls me a thief or idiot, it won't bother me. For the fact that they say that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu called someone a thief and called someone an idiot, it's not enough to still keep him in detention or lock him up till now. He says the country needs to use dialogue and inclusion, not punishment or oppression, to solve its problem. According to him, according to Peter Obi, he says you don't silence agitators by throwing them into prison. You talk to them, you ask them, why are they angry? You negotiate, you de-escalate. That's how real leaders solve their problem. He even went on to say this. So I quote what Peter Obi said. He said, even if I were to deal with bandits or criminals, I would first sit down and understand what they do before taking action. That is just it. He said that even if I become the president, even before I deal with all these bandits or criminals, I will first sit down and understand why they do what they do. Like, why do they really do this before you take action? So this kind of thinking challenges, the Nigerian government they're not thinking that way. They're not thinking that way at all. You cannot silence an agitator or a freedom fighter just by throwing him into cell. No. In the fact, the more you throw him into cells, the more you throw him into prison, the more his voice becomes louder in prison. So, this kind of thinking challenges the Nigerian government's long-standing use of force, detention, and violence to manage dissent. So, like, what does all this mean? It means that the legality and the morality of Kanu's detention, especially since Nigeria and Kenya courts have ruled against it, like, it opens the door for peaceful political resolution to one of Nigeria's most diverse crises. And also, it puts pressure on President Tinubu's government to abandon hardline statistics and consider peaceful negotiation. That is all what Peter Obi is trying to tell him. You should forget all those things and handle everything with peaceful negotiation. It's also because if he actually does all these things that Peter Obi is telling him, it's going to redefine leadership in a country where ego, power, and vengeance often replace compassion, maturity, and dialogue. So Peter Obi's message is very clear. So Peter Obi's message is very clear. We cannot keep punishing people simply because they oppose the government. Democracy must allow space for criticism, even sharp, unpleasant criticism. Yes, you cannot punish someone because they want to oppose the government. No, you don't do that. Democracy must allow space for criticism. That is it. And for me, I don't even think that Nnamdi Kanu is even opposing the government. He's actually telling them the truth and nothing but the truth. But it's just that the government has refused to hear the truth. The government don't like to hear the truth. The truth is always bitter in their ear. Nnamdi Kanu's detention is no longer just a legal matter. It's a test of Nigeria's conscience. Is this country truly democratic, or are we still under colonial style rule where opposing the government is treated like treason? Peter Obi may not be in office, but his voice reflects what many Nigerians are thinking. That the time for revenge politics is over, and the time for national healing must begin. And that healing starts with obeying court orders and releasing Nnamdi Kanu. Peter Obi may not be in office, but we are hearing his voice. We all know that what he's saying is true. He may not be in office, but his voice reflects what many Nigerians are thinking. That the time for revenge politics is over, and the time for national healing must begin. And the healing starts with when we start obeying court orders in this country, and also releasing Nnamdi Kanu. What do you guys really think about what Peter Obi said? About the release of Nnamdi Kanu, saying that it's unnecessary the way they even detained him. Like, it does not make any sense at all. Does not make any sense. So you guys, finally, Peter Obi has come out, to break silence on Nnamdi Kanu continued detention, calling it unjust and senseless. In his powerful in the interview he had with Channels TV, Obi says the vulgar word should not land anyone in prison. Not in a democracy we are. A vulgar word should not land anyone in prison. Not just prison. You guys kept him in detention for 6 years. And we are saying that we're in a democratic country and this kind of thing is happening. What does this mean for the IPOB, the Nigerian government, and the rule of law? Like, what does it really mean? So this is what Obi, in Obi's view of point, this is what he's trying to say. Peter Obi has emphasized that being insulted is part of leadership. It comes with the job. Because if people don't tell you the truth, you won't know what to do. You won't know when you're ruling well. He said a true leader should rise above personal attack and focus on what governance. So, according to Obi, insults like T for idiot are just words and not enough reason to jail anyone. He uses himself as an example, saying insults don't bother him. He shouldn't and should not bother any true public servant. That is what he said. He went as far as using himself as an example that insult does not actually bother him. And also, it should not also bother any true public servant. He asks, if we jail everyone who is this harsh word, then is this really a democratic country? Yes, because we keep asking this. This is what P2B asks them. P2B asks, if we keep jailing everyone that is using harsh words on the government, then why are we not saying that this is a democratic country? The question is, if we start telling everybody that is using harsh words on the government, then is this really a democratic country? That is what we need to know. And the worst part is that there are so many, like, P2B is condemning the act of Nnamdi Kanu's illegal detention. Because that, like, the moral crisis of this is detention. Courts have ruled that Nnamdi Kanu's extradition was illegal, yet he remains in DSS custody. The Nigerian Court of Appeal previously discharged and acquitted him. So why is he still in detention? The UN Human Rights Council and Kenya courts have also ruled against his reduction. Obi is indirectly calling out the Nigerian government for disobeying the rule of law. That is just the continued detention reflects a government that picks which court order to obey, not just justice. So Peter Obi is calling out the Nigerian government for disobeying the rule of law, and it's what is actually causing problem in this Nigeria. They are disobeying the rule of law. It's causing problem. If the people in power are not obeying the rule of law, so how do they expect other citizens to obey the rule of law, since the people in power are not following the due process of the law? And it's so bad. I don't even know why in Nnamdi Kanu's own case, they're not following the due process of the law. It's shocking. Like, it's shocking, guys. In other people's case, they follow the due. So why is it that in his own court case now, they're not following the due process? So he went on further saying that, P2B went on further saying that bandits, terrorists, and known killers are being negotiated with and even pardoned in some cases. Boko Haram members have been rehabilitated, but Kanu, a political agitator, remains locked up. He went on further saying, why does the government tolerate violence in some zones but crack down on peaceful agitators in others? Like, this is the question. Why does the government tolerate violence in some zones, but when they crack down on peaceful agitators, why? They remain silent in some zones, but they crack down on peaceful agitators. P2B is exposing this imbalance. Not get negotiation, it gets oppression. And that's why he's calling out the Nigerian government. Why is it that the North are getting negotiation, but why the East people are getting oppressed? And now he says justice must be equal for all zones, tribes, and voices, not selective. The justice must actually be equal. We cannot just come and be selecting a particular tribe. The one thing with the problem in Nigeria is that the federal government, the Nigerian government, the justice is not equal. There's an unequal justice. Just like in the North now, they will get negotiation, but in the East, there will be oppression. Maybe something will happen in the North, they will support them, but when it comes to the East, they will not give them full support. So P2B is saying justice must be equal for all zones, tribes, and voices, and it should not be selective. And he went on further to say dialogue and not detention. So P2B's point is clear. Dialogue should come before what? Force. Every agitation has a root cause. The wise part is to address those root causes. The indigenous people of Biafra grievances are not imaginary. They stem from decades of marginalization. This IPOB did not just wake up one day and say, okay, let us just go and conduct Biafra, or let's just go and start protesting about having a Biafra nation. No, It didn't start from there. The thing that started it was the marginalization of the Ndi Igbos. So that was what made them to start, looking for how to get their own nation. So P2B went on further to tell us that locking up leaders will not end agitation. It only strengthens the cause. And he said dialogue can prevent bloodshed and foster what? Peace. But pride and vengeance are getting in the way. Now, in this, Kanu has been in solitary confinement for over 3 years. This is what? For over 3 years, or more than 3 years, or maybe 6 years. This is psychological torture, honestly. His health is reportedly failing, yet he's denied adequate medical care. Obi is reminding the nation, even agitators are still human beings with rights. If Kanu dies in detention, it could trigger serious unrest, especially in the southeast. So whatever the government is doing, whatever the Nigerian government is doing, you should be so careful, because if anything happens to Kanu, it's going to trigger serious unrest, especially in the southeast. It's going to be terrible. So anything he's doing, he should just be careful about it, especially when it comes to Nnamdi Kanu's case. Obi is reminding the nation as well as Nigerian government that every agitator, they are all human beings with rights. So you cannot just come and torture Nnamdi Kanu, or you'll be torturing him for over 6 years now. Even when he complained about his health, they didn't give him adequate medical care. And now P2B is saying that mercy and wisdom are needed more than the brutal force. P2B is trying to set a moral to lead by example and not fear. He shows that real leaders don't feel threatened by opposition voices. They don't threatened by opposition voices. P2B, he said that he believes in allowing dissent because it allows democracy grow stronger. And P2B said that he's preaching maturity, tolerance, and political humility in today's leadership. That is what he's preaching. In today's leadership, is preaching about maturity, tolerance, and political humility. He's also reminding Tinubu's government that leadership is not about revenge but results. That is just it. Leadership is not about. If we're saying that Nigeria is a democracy country, then what happened? What happened if you guys now is a democratic country and you guys are getting, if somebody say anything about the Nigerian government, you guys will put them in prison? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't show that Nigeria is a democracy country. It doesn't show it at all. So Nigeria's image on the global stage suffers when it disrespects court rulings. The continued detention of Kanu is attracting criticism from international human rights groups. Investors and global partners are watching how Nigeria treats civil liberties. So Obi's comment shows he's thinking about how Nigeria is perceived abroad, because the way things are going now, it shows that like I told you guys, that many people are watching what is going on, right? About Nnamdi Kanu's case. Many people are seeing it. So the Nigerian government does not even care how other countries perceive what is going on in Nigeria, as well as this Nnamdi Kanu's case. They don't just care. And this what Peter Obi said here. His comment shows that he's thinking about how Nigeria is perceived outside the country, that is abroad. So if Nigeria wants peace and progress, it must start respecting justice both locally and globally. So here's the big question: if Peter Obi were president today, he hinted he would have released Kanu already. His words challenged Tinubu directly. Is this about law and order or ego and power? What example are we setting for the youth that speaking out leads to prison? That's what he said. He said, what example are we setting for the youth that so if we come out to speak up, it will lead us to prison? Does it make sense? So who benefits from Kanu's continued detention? Certainty, not peace, unity, or justice. Will Nigeria choose dialogue and healing, or continue with force and division? So that is just the big question. The big question here now is that will Nigeria choose dialogue and healing, or will they still continue with force and the division? So Peter Obi understand that in a free society, criticism is normal, even the harsh ones. He separates emotional reactions from policy decision. He believes leadership must not be emotionally fragile. So calling someone's name isn't a security threat. It's a free speech. Democracy allows dissent. Dictatorship jail it. That is just the thing. So now the question is, let us ask ourselves this question, because many people have there have been so many unanswered questions on this particular issue about Nnamdi Kanu's case. The question is, why did the Court of Appeal order Kanu's release, yet it was ignored? Why is the government afraid of if Kanu is freed? So for me, I think that the government are afraid if Kanu is, because they know that, oh, maybe if Nnamdi Kanu is released now, Biafra may happen and this country will divide, which the Nigerian government does not want. So another reason is, there's a secret political motive behind keeping him locked up. That's the question we're asking. Is there any secret political motive behind keeping Nnamdi Kanu locked up? So another question is, why detain someone indefinitely with no fresh charges? If the court has spoken, why has the government not obeyed? So, those questions, I want you guys to actually drop your thoughts on this. What do you guys really think about it? So, what are the impacts on the Southeast region? The longer Kanu is detained, the more resentment brews in the southeast. People see it as an attack on Igbo identity and freedom. The detention is deepening the sense of alienation among the youth, and Peter Obi, being Igbo, is echoing a silent cry of millions in the region. Many Easterners view Kanu not just as a man, but as a symbol of justice was denied. Hypocrisy in government response. Fulani herdsmen have killed thousands, yet no leader has been jailed. Terrorists bombed Abuja, Kaduna just, but they are rehabilitated and not detained. Why is the state harsher on agitators? Why is the state harsher on agitators than on murderers? The state negotiates with bandits but rejects dialogue with IPOB. And Obi is asking, where is the balance? Where is the balance? So Obi went on further saying that Obi promotes healing over hostility. His message is, let's fix what's broken, not jail who's complaining. Kanu's case is an opportunity to start a national reconciliation process. Punishment does not erase pain, it multiplies it. Dialogue must de-escalate tensions in the east, the tension will inflammate it. So the politics of selective justice. Kanu's arrest was treated as a national security. Killer herdsmen are called what? Unknown gunmen. Nigeria has become a place where ethnicity determines how you're treated. Obi is pointing out that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Kanu's case is exposing the cracks in our legal system. Selective justice undermines the foundation of what? The rule of law. So the international legal and human rights implications. The United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention has asked Nigeria what? To release Kanu. Kenya court ruled his abduction illegally, but Nigeria remains defiant. The world is watching and Nigeria is on trial. The longer this goes on, the more damage is done to Nigeria's global image. So Peter Obi is calling out. Peter Obi calls alliance with international expectations for human rights. Obi used national TV to say what many media outlets are afraid to say. Channels TV gave him the platform and he did not waste it. He spoke calmly, maturely and truthfully without any tribal bias. His words are making people reevaluate their silence. Obi showed that both truths can be spoken without insult or hate. That is what Peter Obi just showed us there. So guys, I want you guys to watch what he said here, and I'll be right. This was when he was interviewed in Channels TV, and this is what he said about Nnamdi Kanu. Just watch this video and I'll be right back.
We'll change it.
Would this be canvassing for a political solution to the case of Nnamdi Kanu?
For every one of them. I mean, why is he being held? It doesn't make sense to me. Some people say because he used vulgar words and everything. Is there anything wrong? I've not seen it. People just say, oh, using vulgar words. You say, it doesn't bother me if I'm president, whether you call me thief, call me a less man, call me idiot, which they call me today. It doesn't bother me. My duty as a leader is to the common man to put food on their table.
Well, if you are talking about the situation in the South, is it the same way you handle the agitators and those who are killing in the Northeast and the Northwest?
Remember what I said. If there are people I can talk to, I will talk to them. But remember what I said. Once I exhaust reason, I'll deal with it. Let's say tomorrow we have a bandit by name operating in the Northeast. I will look for him. Quote me anywhere. But remember, that is just establish a link to say enough is enough.
Afterwards,
deal with it decisively.
You guys heard what Peter Obi said, right, in that particular video, that even if he was the president of Nigeria today, he's not going to look at what people are saying. That what people are saying does not determine that, oh, you're going to now, because of what they said, that insult or hate, or it doesn't do it. You cannot abuse because someone insulted you and put the person in prison. It doesn't make sense. Even from the way look of things, especially on this Nnamdi Kanu's case. Nnamdi Kanu never insulted the Nigerian government. He was only telling them the truth. The Nigerian government, they hate hearing the truth, and that is the problem. They don't like the truth at all. Nigeria does not need strong men. It needs what? Wise men. Obi's message is a leadership lesson in humanity, empathy, and justice. He is showing that firmness does not what mean oppression. Real leadership listens. It does not what silence. So Nigeria needs healing, not hard-headedness. We don't need it. How are we going to treat Kanu's case? How we're going to treat Kanu's case will determine how future cases are going to be treated. So today it's IPOP, tomorrow it could be another region or movement. Detaining an agitator won't stop the agitation. Only reforms can. So Nigerian democracy must protect even those who are challenging it. If this country is to survive, it must make peace with its own people. That is what it is. For this country we must to survive, it must make peace with its own people. So Peter Obi is saying that detaining him is unnecessary. All he needs to do is what to settle all these things through a peaceful dialogue. So him trying to look for a way and look for how to say, oh, we are finally put him in cell. He's not going to talk again. The more you put him in cell, the more his voices are loud. The more you put him in cell, the more his voices are very, very loud. That is the thing that people don't understand. The more you're trying to hold down a freedom agitator, like a freedom fighter, in fact, you can't even hold down a freedom fighter because his voice is global. In fact, as I'm talking to you guys, Nnamdi Kanu is global. The Nigerian government are even making him global the more. Yes, because his voice is heard in so many countries. So many countries. If you guys watch what happened in the sit at home, you will see that many people celebrated, many countries celebrated that particular May 30th. That, yes, sorry, about May 30th, that's Biafran's Remembrance Day. You find out that many countries celebrated it. So the more the Nigerian government are saying that, oh, that they're torturing him, or they want to put him in cell, the more his voice echoes, and the whole world gets to know Nnamdi Kanu. Even currently now, the whole world has known Martin Nnamdi Kanu. Even during his last court case, they brought an American observer to come and see what is going on in court. It's enough to tell you that, oh, this man has gone global. His voice has gone global. So the more they keep detaining him, the more his voice is speaking for him. The more his voice is speaking for him. So that's one thing that the Nigeria government does not understand. And Peter Obi is saying that all these things, is unnecessary. It doesn't make sense. You're keeping him in detention. Why don't you just release him? You guys settle it in a peaceful way. That's why a peaceful dialogue is always required to settle things amicably, without problem. But is like the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu has refused to turn a listening ear on that particular side. There was this thing that happened recently of I think Vanguard News published that news. Vanguard News came out and was saying that Dave Umahia said that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is now ready to negotiate with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And when people saw that thing, they were like, we don't need negotiation again. Yes, and people are saying that, is he saying that he needs negotiation because since the 7 election is coming, now he needs negotiation? And people attacked Bola Ahmed Tinubu, telling him that they don't need any negotiation with him again. Justice must be done for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And because they've already saying that, oh, freedom is there, freedom is here. That's why you see they're not looking for how to negotiate. And many Igbos are saying they don't need negotiation again. That justice must be done. Just like there was a time that many people were telling Bola Ahmed Tinubu to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu conditionally or unconditionally or through dialogue, and he turned deaf ear. And if you notice now, Tinubu is campaigning for 2027 election, right? And many people, both the northerners, they have they don't want to vote for him again because of what is happening, because of the insecurity. So people now, he's not looking for who is going to vote for him. So he wants to now use Southeast as the key point, to win 2027 election. But the Southeast are not even giving at all with anything he said. There's nothing like negotiation. David Maya came out on Vanguard and was saying that David Maya came out and was saying that the federal government is not ready to negotiate with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We don't need this negotiation again. Justice will be done for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and we have already perceived freedom for him at last. Anyway, guys, that's all we have for today. Let me know what you really think about what Peter Obi has said concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu detention. The fact that he said that it does not make sense detaining this man. Why don't you just settle it peacefully? So, guys, let me know your thoughts below. And also, if you know you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, like, and share. Don't know the notification button to get all the latest news in this channel. So, guys, thanks for watching, and see you guys again in my next live section.